here we are again. It's been a few months. We're back at the, what are we calling this? The Joe Todd Football Channel? I don't really know. I think that's what we're calling it. Doesn't matter, alright? So, it's been a while. How you been? All that stuff. Great, right? It's like July now. Just been busy with some other things, whatever, and just really felt the need, the urge to get going with these again. I spent a ton of time drawing this stuff on paper. It's like sort of a hobby, but kind of sort of an obsession. I guess I just have to kind of admit that. But whatever, it. But within that, I figure a lot of shit out, and it's a lot of stuff that it isn't like my creation or it's just discoveries. It's obvious stuff. The more you look at it, the more obvious it becomes. Again, specifically, we're talking about wing tee offense, high school youth football. We're not talking about high level college and professional here. Okay, so these videos are made for youth high school football coaches who want to build a system, a simple yet very effective system that really, in reality, most of football derives from this, right? So here we're talking about, right, ISO. This picture, it's left. Okay, when we say ISO, we're talking about two-man surface, B-gap, ISO. Okay, I say that we can run ISO to a three-man surface. All right, but we're talking about open side ISO here. All right, when we run the belly to the tight end side, we are calling it down. It's one gap wider. All right, it's not a different play per se, but it's a little different. All right, it's not the same, so therefore it's different. All right, it's not so much of an ISO play. All right, where this is more truly isolation. Okay, we have our halfback, our left halfback, just to do, these videos. I'm not going off a script. I have it in my mind. I know what I'm getting at. As I get to the things, I'll cover them. All right, but whatever. So we're going belly left here because we're a right-handed quarterback. The whole deal: run left, throw right. Okay, these are all power linemen. This is our power back, speed lineman, speed halfback, best overall running back. All right, just a quick overview. Left side's the power side. Run left, throw right. Best lineman. Okay, he should be, of the five, he should be the one that you want to protect the most, your right tackle. That's why the tight end's starting to the right. He's your best guy, so he doesn't need the protection of a tight end, so we can put him, a little more on an island here. That's really what's going on. All right, etc. He'll do more blocking. He'll do more, receiving. He'll carry the ball. He'll carry the ball. He'll carry the ball. All right, on and on and on. This video isn't about the overview of the offense. It's about this play, but within that, all right, there's other videos, there's other things you got to kind of know about what's going on here. We're not just running it left just to run it left. There's a reason for it. All right, and we've got people in place. All right, specifically. All right, there's our speed guard. There's our power guard. So when we run the belly ISO sweep, he's the guy out on the perimeter as the lead blocker. There's a reason for that. All right, etc. So let's just get to the play, because versus 4-3, obviously it is what it is. You've got an open B gap. It's very clear where we're going to enter the line of scrimmage. But when you've got an odd front, all right, now we're going to be dealing with somebody in the B gap, whether it's a 4-eye or a 3 technique or anywhere in between. We've got some defender, all right, right at the point of attack. Remember, the point of attack is the outside leg of the guard, the inside half of the B gap. That's the point of attack. If we were to do nothing else and just run the play with our eyes closed, that would be his path, right? Lateral step first. Right, he's going to lateral step, but point his foot at a 45. All right, and he's not going to turn his hips. Lateral point at 45. That's going to kind of get him going sideways. All right, but he's got to also be able to get downhill by his third, fourth step. He should be downhill. All right, so that's the point of attack. So we've got a guy right there. Let's start with a 4-eye, right? Whether it's a 4 technique, whether it's a 4-eye or a 4 technique that's going to end up slanting in, you've got to assume, really you're going to get a 4. With a slant, you'll get a 4-eye. He could still slant. All right, so we've got to be ready for that. All right, that's kind of all dealt with in the blocking scheme, with starting with the tackle. All right, and the halfback. So when we have an odd front, now the combinations are going to be with the play side tackle and the halfback, the play side halfback. They will be in the combo. All right, and basically, again, if they were to do it with their eyes closed, it would look like that. All right. The halfback should wait for the guard to clear. All right, so it's important, obviously, to draw the path of the guard. He'll step straight back. That's the path of the guard right there. He should take one step back, controlled step with his eyes right on the C-gap defender, and his inside hip should really graze the hip of the tackle. All right. So he's here, and he's kicking out the C-gap defender. We should expect a squeeze. All right. He's not the force defender. We're saying odd, but really there's 2 types of odd. You've got your 3-4. Well, let's call it a 5-2, right? It's a 5-2. Again, depending on where you're at. If you're facing a lot of spread defenses, it may look like a 3-4. All right, whatever. Well, let's just call it a 5-2, and then you've got the 5-3 or the 3-5. So you've got the odd front with an even shell, the 5-2, and then you've got an odd front with an odd shell or a 1-high shell, which is the 5-3. The point is, the force defender, all right, in a 2-high shell, your force defender is either going to be your corner or your safety, all right? But in a 1-high shell, your force defender is going to be this last guy. We'll kind of get to that, but depending on what you're looking at, he's probably the rover, all right? It's probably the rover down, all right? He's here, and you got to kind of take the defensive end, either stack them and move the backers over, or you've got to look at it as he's over here, and then it's Sam, Mike, Will with the backers. All right, those of you that understand what I'm talking about. You've got to figure out what you're going to call this after they move to the 5-3. But right now we're talking 5-2, 2-high, even shell. All right. And so now we've got the halfback. He's at a 45-degree angle looking inside. So his first step has to be that way. All right, he's really looking to go, and he should now almost graze the hip of the guard. All right, he's not looking to do that, but they should almost meet. All right, and he's trying to dig out the inside half of the B gap. Obviously, some things could happen here with the Will linebacker. All right, if he plugs right now, he's just going to pin him inside. He would wash him down no different than a tackle would wash down a 3 technique. All right. If this is a 4 or a 4-eye, the tackle has to just own it. He just has to own it. There's no sort of zone scheme. All right. He just has to own it. And again, that's why that should be your best player. He should be able to take on that might be their best down lineman. We have to win that battle, whether he's a 4 technique. If he's a 4 technique, his only hope is he's slanting inside. All right. If he's a 4 technique and he's not slanting inside, all right. Obviously it could be a blitz, but that's why you change up your snap counts, and you got to really see if as the ball is being snapped, all right, this will linebacker is here, then you really would treat him as the 3 technique and him as the 5 technique. You've got to look at it differently. Obviously, if we're talking about down linemen, a blitzing linebacker becomes a down lineman. Anybody that understands offensive line play or protection or blocking schemes, the whole point, if you have a guy on the first level, you got to treat him as a down lineman. Okay, so that's kind of getting into the finer details of what's going on and how you're identifying things. But the bottom line is a true 4 technique, a true 4-eye, got to be owned by the tackle. All right, he's just going to step inside and just drive him back. All right, he wants to steal his leverage. Again, we know that the point of attack is the inside half of the B gap. So let's just call it the B gap. All right, inside half of the B gap. So we want to steal leverage and end up turning him away from the point of attack. All right, if he's slanting or if he wants to fight inside, then we would just wash him past the hole. We would not allow any penetration, and we would just wash him past. And then that's where the back, his path is, where he's taught to press the hole. All right, but any cuts he makes, his shoulders are square, and he's making lateral slides and vertical bursts. So that's nothing for him out of the ordinary. This should be drilled, all right, where he would just naturally lateral slide to the outside, all right, and then get a vertical burst. All right. There is a scenario where he would actually cut back, all right, but that would basically be if the will backer overplays it. If he overplays it to the outside, he overplays it to the outside. If these guys are all fighting outside and turning the ball back inside, and obviously your force defender is going to be widened by the sweep play, or the sweep fake. All right, we're handing the ball off here, but we're still making the fake here to pull the force defender out. So if your 4-eye gets dug out, obviously we're expecting him to be kicked out anyway, and your will linebacker turns the ball back inside, well then, these are kind of 2 pretty easy blocks right here. Again, you could, obviously if he's slanting to the weak side, they could be doing something, where they're spinning down here and he's leaving and they're slanting weak. You gotta be ready for that. That's not a 3-4 defense now. That's something different. All right. Again, changing up your snap counts, and being able to recognize, if it's a team, again, probably more likely in high school if they're going to spin their safeties. Look, we're in a 2-by-2 here. The whole point is, we're in a mirrored offense. If they're an even, defense 3-4 or 5-2, 4-3. 6-1, whatever it is, some sort of even defense, they're going to be mirrored, right? They're going to be mirrored the same way we are. This is why you start here. This is why you line up in a 2-by-2 to see what they're in. Again, this is day 1 shit. This should be 5th, 6th grade at the latest. Where you've got guys starting to be split out and we're throwing the ball and things like that. 5th or 6th grade, let's just say 6th grade, whatever. All right. But again, we're in a 2-by-2, so they're mirrored. Okay. So we're going to see 2 high safeties. We're going to see that 0 nose, or if they're in a 4-3, the Mike, right over the A gap. All right, or at least in a 10, you would call it. All right. So anyway, the point is, if overplay, we don't really have there's nowhere to bounce. Right. We would. Keep it here, but let's say the will played hard downhill. He is a good player, so there's a collision here, be a slight and then we would be back on track. But that's really the only scenario, and wouldn't even really count that a cutback. He's really just staying on course. All right, he definitely has a decision to make. But again, remember the will back is turning this ball back inside. He's attacking the inside half of the B gap. This is wrong. If he's here, whatever, you understand the point. We kind of have a stalemate, right? But he's not losing outside. Okay, so we don't really have a choice but to slight and then take it back. I don't even want to call it a cutback, but again, I think here, all right. Again, any time on the back side, anytime you could man something up or block back, let's say this is a 5 technique. So let's say this is a 0 and this is a 5 or a 4, it doesn't matter. We're gonna man it on the back side, and then the next guy inside will skip, pull, keep his shoulders square, just get lateral speed now, right? And then climb to prevent any sort of anything like that. You know, obviously here you gotta find out who the fold player is. All right, on the back side. This should be a guy checking for, you know, counter, cut back, reverse, naked. Okay, so we're counting on this you know, let's call him a 7 technique. I almost messed up. Let's call it a 9 technique. 9 technique is out here. That's just, I know a lot of people call that a 9. Don't want to get into the argument. Logic, 1, 3, 5, 7. I just didn't get into it, but whatever. Call it what you want. All right, but if you're gonna do it right, you gotta call it a 7 technique. All right, don't confuse people. All right, 1, 3, 5, 7. This is a 9. Okay, out here. I say call it what you want, but I don't really mean that. I really don't. I don't think you should call it what you want. I think you should call it a 7 technique and a 9 technique. All right. So, whatever. He, you know, if he's the fold play, it doesn't matter. Usually, you know, it's one of these two that the backside tight end is going for. All right. Obviously, this is a key block here. All right. The backside, the speed on the backside, the scoop. I'm kind of skipping through a lot of these rules, but I think, you know, people that understand. Look, you either zone it or you can man it. Right. One or the other. You know, if you're gonna man it, then the next guy who's basically going to be a puller should some people call it a sickle poke, right? Because it's in the shape of a sickle. But he should, to me, it's a skip poke because he's going to skip. I'm sideways. I'm going to skip. I'm not turning my shoulders or I'm not opening up and running. I'm just going to skip out of there real quick. All right. And if I'm really looking for him, so I would just get running right there. All right, unless you got that. All right. Or even if you got a hard slant here, you know, let's say he was coming down, well, he's still going to protect, all right? You know, we got protecting the A-gap, protecting the backside A-gap. That's these two. Here's your play side A-gap and your backside A-gap defenders right here. Backside B and C defenders, it's either him and him or it's him and him. All right, 2 of these 3 are going to be backside B, backside C, all right? And then the other guy is going to be, you know, your counter, cut back, reverse guy, you know, whatever. All right. Obviously, there's the corner there, right? The corner really means your flat defender. He should be, you know, he should be worrying about, you know, he is your, you know, he's going to be involved in the run game too. If you run counter back here or something, you got to expect obviously the corner's going to be involved. He's probably a cover 2 corner. But anyway, it's a whole other conversation because it's like, all right, well, if he's down and he's a hard corner, then he's not involved in the run game. You know, certainly they could both be involved with the run game. All right, but that again, that's why you got 2x2. You've got 4 verticals. You've got the pass game. All right, that's the whole point. But point of attack's over here. All right, so we're talking about the blocks at the point of attack. Let's just go with one more scenario look. You know, let's go with the 3 technique. All right, and a backer who's a little bit wider. So, let's see. So we're gonna get, you know, expect him to be either a 7 or a 6 head up. And now we got a 3 technique with a backer who's like stacked. Okay. So they still have, you know, they still have the guys, all right, but they're just, instead of being here, all right, now they're stacked. All right, here we go. So, same thing, ball snap, he'll step back. Now, because he's a 3 technique for the tackle, it's just down. We're not going to try to dig out a 3 technique. All right, what do we mean by dig out? Well, if this is the point of attack right here, we're saying it's the inside half of the B gap. So, if we want to get all technical, okay, from the midpoint of the tackle to the midpoint of the guard is the B gap. It's not from shoe to shoe. It's not, right? It's the middle of our guy to the middle of the next our guy, that whole lane there, okay? Anyone of their guys who's in that path is in the way, is, you know, in the gap, in the point of attack, whatever you want to say. All right. So it's like, all right, well, we can either dig him out, or we can just go down on him. Again, you get your best blocker here. This is what we want. I think this is what you want, right? You want to be here and move him, get him out of there. Moving sideways, that's it. He's out. Right? I mean, it's almost like trapped. He's like, he's trapped. There's nothing he can do. Okay, he'll step back. He's right there. Okay, you know, same thing. Guard goes first. He's down, so now, you know, he can really overshoot this that way. Because even if the tackle tries to climb over the top, he's got this behind him. And he's just basically going to do the same thing. You know, unless that will back, you know, what's the will going to do? He's going to plug here. You know, if in that case, see, that's where you have to combo it a little bit, and you can here, because now now the tackle can come off and pin the will, and the halfback can just stay on the 3 technique and pin the 3 technique inside, right? And like, you know, and your point of attack is just like right there. He's off and running again. He is occupied by him. Nice fake. Boom, we're out here. All right, we're holding that guy on the backside. All right, we're running to get their touchdown saver. You know, that's a big deal. You always want to find the touchdown saver on the backside. Get that guy, because we should have a touchdown saver blocker. There's nothing going on hanging out wise back here, right? We're moving. 11 got me right. We didn't even draw up the X, but we can play all kinds of games here where we'll crack, and now it's on him to see what he's doing. Okay, it's basically 2 for 2 over here. Him and him on these two. Figure it out. All right. Use the numbers. Use field spacing. Right. We could be on the hash here, and these guys could be out by the numbers. Right. Whatever. Or we could even be the other way around. We could be on the left hash, and he could be like, inside the numbers. Why? Well, so we can crack. He's way closer. Really, really make him think now. Because when the ball's on the right hash, and these guys are out with the numbers, it's so far away from the play. It's gonna be tough to crack. He could be hanging out, 2 yards wide, 8 yards deep off of the halfback, and we could be playing cover 4. Yeah, I'm talking to people that really understand. If you don't understand what I mean by that, you gotta I don't know, write a comment. I'll explain. All right. But so you understand what I'm saying. Field spacing, figure it out. All right. Let's just say for the sake, we're right there. We're into the boundary. All right. We're using this guy now. We're bothering him, and we're making him figure some stuff. They can't really play man, because if we run the naked, he's gone. I mean, I'm sure they could figure something out, but whatever. You got to make him figure it out. All right. Bottom line, whatever. So let's just go back, kind of get rid of these two, focus on him. Let's just say we're back to, wide side. Okay, they're out there. Okay, so same thing, backside. You could zone it if you want. You know what I mean? If he's a 1 technique, and we can cut him off with the guard and the center. Now the center's got a kind of an easy angle on the mic. To me, these are easy blocks on the backside. That's your speed guard. He should be able to get the mic. Should be able to reach a nose, who most likely is probably 1 technique or slant to the tight end side anyway. All right. And if they're doing anything weak side, you're probably looking at more of a 5-3 defense, or a mix of the two, and you just need some answers for that, obviously. All right. So point of attack, again, with a 3 technique. Most likely we're looking at something like this, where we're down on the 3 technique, and then we're down on the will, and we're just pinning them inside, and we got this whole deal here. All right. And now we're putting it on him to figure out whether or not he wants to fold inside, or whether he wants to, because once we get him doing that, now obviously we open up the sweep, which is the next deal. All right, and just kind of a quick preview on that. That's where now, because now you're getting a squeeze here, because he's getting the ball run up inside of him. So now we log him. Now you'd log him. Now the backside guard would sprint fast. We're trying to get to a spot. We're not trying to just block people. We're trying to get to a spot and prevent any sort of radical penetration, like this guy's screaming downhill right here. We would forget about the spot, and obviously he's more dangerous here than he is here. But we're trying to beat him here, we're trying to get him to do that, and we're off to the races. We got everyone pinned inside. Alright, so that really puts kind of these two guys in a bind. Do we squeeze? Do we fold? You know, if we do that and they run the sweep, that's why it's going to look the same. You know, the action of the quarterback, the action of the fullback, the action of the halfback, the speed halfback, the right halfback, whatever, have to look the same. We got to carry out the naked fake. You know, so these two have something to think about, or three have something to think about. All right. Let's go with another kind of scenario here. Let's see. Another scenario where the play side tackle and play side halfback have to work together. All right. What are we looking at for colors here? All right, so let's see. We kind of just did it, right? I mean, you know, let's look at if it's a 4-eye with a backer, and you're getting something like this, a blitz, right? And that's what they're doing on the snap. Right, you know, maybe the mic's going to be working over. All right. So let's look at something like that. All right. Chances are it's man. All right. Chances are it's man. Because they're blitzing. Obviously, they could be in a zone blitz. So, I mean, you know, chances are, but it could be 50-50. Doesn't matter. Let's just look at the point of attack. Okay. We're always going to get the same action from the guard. We're not going to change. We're not going to change the guard. That's not going to happen. The whole idea is if they're doing something in the play side A gap, we would gain the center. I was going to say we'd gain the backside center. All right, we gain the center. So we would really, you know, if this was on the snap, like if the wheel backer was up in the A gap, okay, we would gain the center. But in this picture, we really don't, because the blitz is coming here. It's a B gap, all right, A gap deal. The bottom line is this: he's moving on the snap. He's a 4-eye on the snap, okay. So when the ball is snapped, he's a 4-eye, okay. So when he does that, we would just mirror him, and we would just do that. So we would really try to. The first thing is prevent penetration. We'll go sideways with you all day long. We don't care about vertical movement. It doesn't matter. All right. This doesn't matter. Okay. Preventing penetration is really what matters. So that's why, you know, you got to watch film, right? If you see this, you know, sort of creep deal here, you kind of know, you know, he'll probably be even a little bit more like this on the snap. Right, and then, you know, maybe the ball snapped like, you know, right there. Okay, ball snapped right there, and that's what you're getting. So, real simple. We'd be sideways with them, and then eventually, you know, we would just keep washing him down, or let's say he stops going down, and okay, we would just take him over and put him on a 45. So you got to believe that, you know, again, your best lineman, you got to drill this, you got to see it coming. All right. And then this is pretty simple here. Again, we're going to be, you know, again, this might be quick, but he might pin him right there. You know, he may run into the guard. Doesn't matter. We got to get him pinned, because at the end of the day, all right, we always know that we can horizontal slide and vertical burst. And that's kind of what we're banking on. No penetration, especially in, you know, all these play side locations, no penetration. The end of the day, we're gonna attack the line of scrimmage at the point of attack, but horizontal slide, vertical burst, and then we'll kind of wiggle our way through there. If we've got the rover or the force defender, I should say, if he's peeking in, he's folded, because you know he's playing man. So if he's doing this, he may be doing that. You know, if that's the case, and we see it, right? Obviously, we gotta, and then we check to the sweep. Everything looks the same, all right. And if we're handing that sweep off, and there's nobody out here, they may have this guy running all the way across the field. All right, I don't think it's a good deal for them. All right, there's no way for them to defend it unless they put the end. The only other deal they could do, and this is where you gotta be cute. Not cute. That's not the best way to say it. You gotta not let them be cute. I think is a better way to say it. You gotta be smart, right? At the end of the day, obviously that's what we're saying. Okay, so here's what would happen. He's gonna fold. That means he's the force defender. Okay, people will do that. They'll make the end the force defender, the rush defender, you know, the cage defender, the whatever you want to call it. He's gonna protect against reverse and naked, all those things, because there's stuff going on inside of him. Okay, so if you can see that, then you don't put the guard on him. You put the guard on the C-gap defender, who would really then be the folder. So he can kind of say, nope, and then he can just get vertical, right? Because really, he should be held by the backside halfback. Okay, so if you understand what I'm saying, we can still run our whole game here. We would gain the guard as a blocker up in here, okay, and we would forget about him, okay? And we would kind of run that, you know, there's a whole deal about a staircase here. Is what's going on. You know, we would kind of run the staircase, okay? You know, if it's there, take it, go, bye, right? The only cutback would be something that would look something kind of like that, all right, on the ISO block, maybe, all right, if he's, you know, like we talked about, but anyway, that's that for now. Didn't really get into the 5-3, but, you know, it's the same idea but different, okay? You got to look at it. If they're lining up in a 5-3, you got to look at it a little differently, because it's easier to see who the force defender is, etc. All right. Bottom line is versus the odd. All right. Specifically 5-2. Your tackle and halfback are working together. All right. For those two guys that are in the B gap. All right. A gap, B gap defenders. Play side guards got the C gap defender. All right. We're fast on the backside, and that's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do another one soon.